Greetings, friends. It's Colrain or Colrain Tarot here on YouTube. My pronouns are they, them. And we are going to get into this beautiful reading today. So I was inspired by my guides to do a reading that focuses on the body as the spiritual vessel. And the way that we're going to do this is by asking your body what area needs more of your focus or attention. So I'm going to use my psychic perception to read into this area of your body that needs assistance and what that could potentially mean and how you can address that, and any other messages that come through from your higher self, from your spirit guides, because our bodies are intimately connected with the actions we take, our spiritual journeys, and the emotions and experiences that we store there. So yeah, hopefully this is going to help you in some way. I am going to incorporate some energy healing, or Reiki if you want to call it that, into each of the piles so that you have an individualized energy healing session that can meet your needs depending on what comes through in the reading. So feel free to participate in any way that you want to. If you select more than one pile, just know that sorry. Just know that you can use these together and they can facilitate healing that might be connective. And I do know that a couple of the piles have some commonalities, so I could definitely see how you'd be drawn to more than one. So without further ado, please check the description below for the timestamps for each of the piles. I have 4 here today and I'll introduce them for you so as to help you select. Group 1 is this Botswana agate, and it's really beautiful when illuminated with light coming through it. I don't know if you can see it the opposite way, but for me the light's coming through. So beautiful stone. Group 2 is this lepidolite. I'm sure this is reflective for you, the way that it's facing. Group 3 is this banded onyx tumble. Sometimes it's also known as green banded onyx. And group 4 is this red tiger's eye. Beautiful shift. So when you are ready, I will meet you in your pile. Hello Group 1, if you selected this first group, this is your reading with the Botswana agate. Now, I did this preparation a little bit differently than I usually do, and this is because I wanted to bring in some knowledge from these books that I have, and we're going to get right on with the notes that I took for your group. So, the Botswana agate itself is representative of calming and allowing you to see the bigger picture in your life. So, wherever you're coming from, Group 1, there's something here about especially connecting with the throat chakra, or chakra. Sorry, I'm working on my pronunciation. I want to pay homage to the people who laid the foundation for our understanding of the chakras. By pronouncing it properly. But anyway, yeah, maybe there is something about saying something with the right, like attributing the right knowledge to something, giving credit where it's due, using personal power in order to kind of find justice in your life. So there's something here, Group 1, about this justice energy. I used this medical astrology book by Judith Hill, and I did something called bibliomancy, which is just shuffling to a random page. I like how I said shuffle, this is how you know I'm a reader, but I like flipped to a random page in the book, and for you I got the Virgo moon. So you may have a Virgo moon, or this is something that maybe you're connecting with the energy of a Virgo moon. Maybe the moon is in Virgo when you're watching this. But there are qualities of the Virgo moon that are being emphasized in your body right now. Now, Virgo in a medical astrology rules over the intestines and to some extent like the hands and the nervous system as well. And it said in the book that the phrase that stood out to me is that Virgo moons refuse to quit when they should. So there's something about overworking yourself. A lot of you may be in really highly demanding jobs or fields. And it also said that Virgo moons have really sensitive bowels and are sensitive to certain food chemicals or like the chemistry of food. So let's say this is a pretty common one that they're bringing to my mind, like maybe eating spicy food. Sometimes your bowels, it can cause extreme inflammation. So just watch out for inflammation of the intestinal area for you at this time. And also, it was mentioning that deep breathing was a really great technique for Virgo moons because it can be really hard for them to relax. So even if you don't have this placement in your chart or you don't really follow astrology or care too much for it, this was what's being highlighted for your group as a whole. So working with this energy of not stressing yourself out, not getting fixated on the details. Again, that kind of relates to your Botswana agate about zooming out, calming down, and seeing the bigger picture. So this group was really synchronous in terms of all the notes that I took for you. I haven't looked at your cards yet, so we'll see how that factors in. But I also want to bring forward a crystal for this group besides the Botswana agate. That might be useful for you. So it was in this book, Crystals, Channel the Energy of Crystals for Spiritual Transformation by Sadie Kodlik. And this book produced the Bloodstone for you. And it was talking about rejuvenation and revitalizing the body. Again, re-emphasizing your need to calm down, to connect with how you process and make sense of information, because that's what our digestive system does. It pulls out nutrients and actually invigorates them directly into the bloodstream. So there's something about working with the blood, working with the energy of processing, and working with relaxing and rejuvenating oneself. So that's what I'm going to focus on in the energy work session. And I think for your group, I'm going to do the energy work before I get into your cards. Finally, the last book that I worked with for this reading was called Animal Speak, The Spiritual and Magical Powers of Creatures Great and Small by Ted Andrews. This book is awesome if you want to learn more about the use or the significance of different animal spirits. But the animal that came out for you was rabbit. So rabbit, the first thing that stood out was the connection to the moon, and you even got the Virgo moon. So this is definitely about the emotions and how the emotions translate into the body. The rabbit also can lead you into the Fae realm. So to me, if you haven't watched my previous videos, the Fae realm is the realm of nature spirit, and to me that's accessed through incorporating the fifth dimension. And for me, the fifth dimension is being able to drop into the meditative, prayerful, extra conscious sensory perception of the world. And so there's something about being able to sharpen your senses, and also Virgo is very sensitive as well. So there's something about using your sensitivity to be able to act at the right moment. And the other things that stood out to me about the rabbit is agility and fertility, planning, fear, and anticipation. Great paradoxes. So the rabbit can both stop and hold itself immensely still to hide from predators, and it can move at incredible speeds. So it was a very elusive prize for hunters in antiquity. And so the rabbit is also getting you to feel those subconscious mind that happens in the stomach. So we know that serotonin and different things are produced based on our gut flora and what's going on down here in in the body mind, right? And so there's something about being able to find the balance in those extremes of what the body needs, what the mind needs, and bringing them together. And I mean, Virgo in itself kind of mimics that, because it's while it's ruled by that very mind-based Mercury energy, it's also an earth sign, so it's about bridging the mind and the body. And it also, the other part about this was the planning, not letting the fear usurp our knowledge and our ability to co-create and make changes in our lives, and being able to also respond and react really quickly despite what we've planned when we're in that period of stillness. Because rabbits can anticipate. I mean, they're always being hunted. They're kind of at the lower parts of the food chain, so they have great defenses or great reflexes built in to deal with those things and to anticipate any potential hardship or predatory energy. So if you've been, I feel like for a lot of this group, you're working really hard. This may be like financial efforts that are also helping you to be smart about potential things you want to live up to with regards to like financial goals. And what's being said is don't sacrifice your physical well-being for that long-term success. So the final note I had on here was health and food sensitivity, because Virgo moon specifically talks about that, the bowels and the sensitivity there. It also said that in the rabbit chapter, which I thought was really synchronous. Rabbits are vegetarians, so they're really sensitive to the foods that they eat, and they also need to be consistently consuming for the amount of energy that they use. I actually have a pet rabbit. You may have seen him in some of my previous videos if you've been watching me for a while, but in any regards, they are very sensitive to their food, and they also need a lot of different chemical compounds in their foods, and they need it to be balanced in a certain way. So making sure that you prioritize your meals, and also eating foods that are relatively simple, but they have the nutritional values that you need. So the thing that's coming to mind a lot is like fibrous foods like beans and legumes that would be also very nutritious in terms of their protein content, and they're relatively easy on the wallet as well. If you buy like bulk beans, you know that it's a lot cheaper than even buying them canned. So enough about that. I'm going to move into the energy work portion of your session. So I have here this cedar. Oh, I left my lighter over there, but it's okay. I'm just going to use this candle that's down here. And I want you to begin to take a deep, deep breath, group one. Feel your aura expand as much as it can. You know, if you're watching this on public transit or something, you may not be able to expand your aura in the way that you might want to, but feel your aura expand into a protective circle that's around you. And I'm just pulling this into your aura, sending in this protective cedar energy to ground and center you into receiving this energy work session. We're going to keep this brief, but I want to start with the bloodstone. So I do have bloodstone, and since this came out and was so tied in with everything your other messages were kind of saying, I really wanted to tap this through into your aura and just feel those vibrations of the bloodstone coming in. Now, if there is any, for some of you, it's like maybe autoimmune or even genetic things that have to do with the blood or the intestines, allowing the energy around those constructs within the mind and how you manage them to just soften Because sometimes when we have diagnoses or we know that there are certain challenges that we face physically, we can get very rigid and almost controlling over these things that we see as disorders within ourselves, is what your guides are saying. And they want you to see that as a natural and important part of your life, and things that you're meant to experience and manage and work with. Now I'm going to start drawing some Reiki symbols to connect all of the chakra points, to bring through a white light energy into each of the energy centers, linking them with their counterpart. And bringing through the energy that you need to calm, assess, and respond with grace, and removing the fear. So I'm going into the root right here because I'm feeling right now that in terms of the energy centers, the root is a little inflamed. I'm just pulling positive energy and connecting upwards from the root to the solar plexus, so that the personal willpower can be trusted, and in turn you can feel safe and secure. Now I'm going to be drawing up from the solar plexus, charging the energy in the solar plexus or the personal sun, up to the crown, above the head, bringing peace of thoughts and pulling down wisdom, confidence, and an intuitive understanding of what is right for you at this time. Thanking the bloodstone for its beautiful contribution to the energy work today. And for you, group 1, I'm also feeling like I want to bring the Shungite angel in and just comb it through your aura as a final sweep. And I want you to imagine that any anxiety that has been in or around your body is being magnetized to the Shungite angel, who can transmute and bring some form of empathy that you need into your life. So almost like when you take a magnet to the sand and you pull that iron ore out, that's what I'm seeing this Shungite angel working through your field, just smoothing out any anxious energy and redirecting the source or the function of that energetic resonancy to be reallocated to places that would be used and better serve you, because I feel like a lot of you have a strong energetic presence and a lot of energy to burn in the day, and you need to keep, moving that energy. But sometimes when we don't know how to use and direct our energy, it can turn into anxiety because we have excess of it. And for some of you, I'm also getting the message from your guides that caffeine is affecting you. So just watch or limit your caffeine intake, or be mindful about how you do it. Maybe, consuming the caffeine in the beginning portion of the day before it turns noon. That can be a useful way to, or a rule to follow. So I'm feeling like your energy's calmed quite a bit, and your guides are saying where to go to read the cards for you. So, starting with this card from the, why am I blanking on the name? It'll come to me. It'll be in the description as usual as well. But this is Sacred Geometry Activations. This is the card 11, Belief. It says, the frequency of belief supports our sense of self-worth based on our gifts and talents and a strong connection to Source. So for you, group 1, something that's really important is your belief around your body. and especially since it emphasized self-worth. Group 1, I feel like for a lot of you that sensitivity in the stomach or the bowels might be from anxiety and inflammation caused from hypervigilance, and that can be connected to the rabbit spirit as well. Believe in yourself, believe in your ability to address and also prepare for anything that may disrupt your sense of peace. Also, doing meditations frequently to focus on the crown chakra and moving energy from the head down lower into the body and paying attention to how your body in a very visceral and grounded way feels can help you to move your belief down and actually reinforce strong, positive, and true beliefs about your body and your capability. They wanted me to say capability and capacity at the same time. So for some of you, you're maybe reaffirming to yourselves that you don't have the capacity for things that you actually do. We're going to go into the Avalon Oracle. This is again connecting with the Fae realm, and since you got that message about the being led into the Fae realm by the rabbit, maybe even working with the rabbit as a spirit guide could be useful for you to help lead you into kind of more magical interpretation of the world. So you have the Swan, transformation, trusting the psychic gifts. So for a lot of you, some of this energy around paying attention to your body is realizing that your sensitivities may be connected to psychic abilities or empathic or intuitive abilities, and that your body is almost like a receptor for those vibrations or those energies. And the other card you have here is the Eagle, spirit, integrity, and connection to the angelic realm. So, again, you got two cards about bird guides that are very much in touch with the psychic or the otherworldly. And you even have there, again, with the rabbit leading into the Fae realm. And the way that the book described it was like Alice in Wonderland. She follows the white rabbit down the rabbit hole, and then all of a sudden her perception of reality entirely changes and almost disorients her as well. So remember to stay grounded and focused into what you know is true about yourself and how you're feeling. For this group, it's really important to get grounded despite your ability to perceive and have a really strong awareness and a greater vision for what's going on for your life. So for a lot of you, you may be in a period where it's time to plan or make some kind of decision about where you want to be headed, but it's also just as important for you to, again, allow the transformation to occur and to trust your psychic abilities and where they're leading you. So that may be part of the anxiety for a lot of you, is that your beliefs are changing or your beliefs are being tested. And so at this time, it's really important for you to calm your body. And that's not just calming the mind. It's not just soothing the racing thoughts. It's also about feeling a very deep sense of relaxation and calm and prioritizing that in your life. Because the Eagle reminds you that with that spirit and integrity, you are able to act when the moment is right. Eagles are not super active creatures. They are active in the sense that they have great movement, but they're not, they don't represent the same type of focus and drive that like a hawk would, if that makes sense. So let's go into your shamanic message. Oh, actually, they're drawing me into the Isis Oracle first. So you have two messages here from Lady Isis. And you have the Pyramid of Light, psychic protection. So again, I feel like this group has a lot of mystics, a lot of people who are in the healing profession, or you work in a field that has to do with, mental health, or something around even maybe physical health, because Virgo can rule like day-to-day health and management as well. So even if you don't feel like you're doing healing things, when you're managing other people's energy, you're very much doing healing work or creating a foundation for others to fit into a certain system of organization. And so right now it's time for you to organize yourself in a very physical manner so that you can be protected psychically, because I feel like a lot of you are very sensitive and you take in a lot of energy and information for others. So Pyramid of Light Psychic Protection says, as a being of light, darker energies may at times seek to interfere with your spiritual progress. There is nothing to fear, and only more awareness of the power and protection of divine love to experience. The Pyramid of Light confirms that energies have been causing interference with your path, and it is now time for that interference to cease completely through loving divine power. The other card you have here is the Temple of Lapis Lazuli. And I was saying something about the throat, so I wonder if that might come out in this card. But it says, your soul is very ancient and holds the wisdom of star peoples from civilizations with unique high vibrational awareness that can help humanity transition from a culture based in fear to a love-based community. You are here on this planet to be you to the fullest extent possible. Then you will help heal human culture so that the planet may thrive. So definitely, this is a time for you to focus on yourself. Even the rabbit spirit keeps coming up so strong for your group. But the rabbit is also really interconnected with their community, and they have a very strong social behavior pattern in the groupings. So maybe even working with lapis lazuli. I mean, the Botswana agate that I pulled out here, I don't think it's naturally blue, but it looks like they tried to dye it. I don't know why. But working with blue crystals might be really important to help you to express your own needs if you're having trouble pulling back, because I am getting the sense that for some of you, you're having trouble transitioning from being in a role of very much like people pleasing or accommodating other people's needs over your own. And so if you're needing to shift that belief, again with the belief card, and focus more on your self-worth, again with that card saying self-worth, using lapis lazuli might be really helpful, because this is definitely a time for you to be healing yourself and to be addressing what your needs are, and in order to transform and trust those psychic abilities. Beautiful. So, also, with that mention of the star peoples, Lady Isis notoriously comes from the star Sirius, and I think you should look into the star Sirius, because it might be something that unlocks something for you. You can even look into like Syrian star seeds. If you're already acquainted, then this is just a confirmation. But if this is something that catches your attention and you feel like you need to look into it, definitely do. Finally, your shamanic message here from the Shaman's Oracle is the Shaman of Tradition. So, what you are, I feel like this is a dual message. There's something about you having been exposed to other shamans of tradition, and what I mean is shamans that follow a very specific organized path ahead of them. You may have family members that were in roles of spiritual support, or even I'm seeing for some of you it's like they're in a role of like a teacher or something that's like not traditionally spiritual, but they would be categorized as the shaman of tradition. And what you're going to step into in the future is being a shaman of tradition. And that means maybe creating new forms of tradition that help others break patterns of pain that are embedded in traditional beliefs. Because you have this card of belief and tradition, I feel like there is something where your body is teaching you about the intermingling of belief and tradition, and how belief leads to tradition or action-based responses to what's going on here. And that's also really that Virgo energy of what's happening in the mind, the way we're processing and making meaning out of information is subconsciously reflected in the bowel system, in the way we process and physically take in nutrients and eventually secrete waste. But I feel like it has to do with like discernment And that's also what's going on with the psychic abilities too. So really drop into the place of discernment in order to protect your psychic ability, because right now I feel like a lot of you, the perception is heightening, and so it's important to protect your energy. And also protection sometimes doesn't just have to be, you know, doing visualization techniques. Those can be helpful, but I also feel like for some of you it's learning boundaries and saying no. And that's also what the rabbit is teaching. Like, they have, you know, they're vulnerable in some ways because of who they are, and so that's why they can be very still or move fast. It's a response or an anticipation of potential danger, but they also are very much in this process of cycling with things. And so I feel like for you, you need to give yourself the time to digest and process information before you can really discern and figure out where you stand on, yes, I believe in this, or no, I don't want to deal with that energy right now, type of thing. And that's also the ego, being able to rise above and get a really good perspective on the whole entire situation from that place of calm. That's all I'm seeing for you, Group 1. I really hope that this energy session and reading was helpful to you. I felt like it was very clear and direct from your guides, so I want to thank them so much. I want to thank my guides for helping to facilitate this as well. I want to thank you for being here and for committing to your spiritual journey at this time. If you're interested in a personal reading, I have that information in my description below. If you want to book a reading, just go to my website, which is coleraine.carrd.co. Otherwise, I will see you in another reading, my friend. Bye. Readings Group 2, if you selected this lepidolite, or the second group was just for you, then this is your reading. So, it's interesting because when I tapped into your group, I was just seeing some type of box, but it felt like the box was like illuminated in my third eye, and it felt very contained. So I'm not quite sure how to make meaning out of that message, but for some of you there may be a very important like framed picture in your house, is what they're drawing me to. Yeah, something like that. Or there's some kind of like shadow box or something that's really important. Maybe there's an ancestor that's connected to that, because it's like some of your guides are showing me that like they have objects that are connected to them, like if your spirit guides are passed on ancestors and loved ones. But yeah, Group 2, this lepidolite. So I took notes. My days in college are coming forward for how I prepared this reading. So you may be somebody that's very into the intellectual, or you may be studying right now or thinking about going back to school. But yeah, I did some research on different talismans and spirits that could help you at this time. So lepidolite is about soothing, remembering who we are and why we're here. This is about cosmic connections. It's kind of like star-like. And I also happen to know that lepidolite has a high lithium content in it. And lithium is actually what's taken orally by people who've been diagnosed with various bipolar, I don't want to call it disorder, because I don't believe in that, but the symptoms of bipolar disorder, that diagnoses, sorry. But lithium is really great for balancing the emotions and the hormones and different factors on our emotional responses and experiences. Personally, I also associate it with the crown, and I know that there's a lot of mica in here that is causing those reflective, beautiful, sparkly bits. And so this can be about shining our light, about being confident in who we are, and also being able to balance ourselves and others. So for some of you in Group 2, I'm feeling like there's maybe a bit of a difficulty putting a boundary up between you and the people around you. So yes, The first book that I pulled for each of the piles was this medical astrology guide by Judith Hill, and the card. I keep wanting to use these books like cards. Even in the first groups that I was shuffling to something. But I did something called bibliomancy, where you open to a random page, and I found that it was talking about Scorpio for your group. So you may have Scorpio really prominent in your chart, or you may want to look and see what house Scorpio resides in, because like for me personally, I don't have any placements in Scorpio, but I still have a house that's ruled by Scorpio, so there's still that energy of influencing somewhere in my life, as it is for everyone. So maybe look to that in your chart, and that might be talking about where in the body is being affected. So I'll use myself as an example again. Scorpio's in my 5th house, so if I were to choose this pile, I know that the 5th house is ruled by Leo, and so it may be connected to like the heart and the spine. That might be what's being talked about, or I might see it. I forget how it's classified in here. I like to read both ways with using medical astrology, but it also might be about the genitals and the nose, and that's actually what this was talking about, because it says the notes I took for your group, were about the nasal passages and aromatherapy and self-hypnosis, working with fearlessness and self-healing through suggestion and sensory altering techniques, because Scorpios are very sensitive sensory wise. So any sensory input or meaning making from sensory use is going to be really important, but especially that olfactory sense and the more instinctual sexual energies that you might receive from that. And so it says tend to the nose and genitals, clear any fungal or infections symptoms, or symptoms from overindulgence as well. So since there's a group of people here, those diagnoses are going to land with you differently, or those areas of the body or symptoms may be applying to you differently. So yeah, I'm going to repeat that. Tend to the nose and the genitals, clear any fungal or infections symptoms, or symptoms from overindulgence. So if you've been indulging a lot in food or drugs and alcohol, definitely tend to that at this time. And that was that very first thing that came through from your guides. So anything that's like having to do with sensuality, and again, I want to re-highlight self-hypnosis and aromatherapy. I feel like for this group, regardless of what's going on, even if you don't feel like you have anything that's like glaringly obvious about what your body's needing, this group is really going to benefit from aromatherapy and self-hypnosis. But, use self-hypnosis cautionably, because it did say that Scorpio is really sensitive to self-hypnosis, and if used incorrectly, you can actually, they want me to say, pervert the energy. So just really, really try and use it in a way that's very focused, and maybe this reading, as we go further, can help you to know where you might want to focus self-hypnosis on. Because it said that Scorpio is really vulnerable to psychosomatic responses. So let's see. Your crystal that came from this crystal book by Sadie Kavlik was hemimorphite, which is funny because I've never seen this crystal, but I'm assuming that there's a high iron content since it has the hemi at the beginning, which I know has to do with the iron in our blood. Again, more Scorpio stuff, kind of dark, but it says this crystal deals with empathy and emotional memory. So in the book, it was talking about the sacral to throat connection, and it's funny because the sacral is our reproductive organs and our sexual drive, and the throat can have to do with our nasal to throat connection as well. So definitely working again with that aromatherapy, using the nose to take in certain compounds. For example, when I'm sick, I really like to diffuse lavender essential oils, and always please do your research if you have pets around you for aromatherapy techniques. There are certain essential oils especially that pets cannot handle. But I would recommend, if you do have pets and you want to work with essential oils still, again, doing your research on which ones you can apply topically, or even just opening a bottle and sniffing it can be really useful, and a way that you can take in a dosage, but it may not affect your pets. As well as sticks, like with I have an aromatherapy stick that I actually carry with me all the time, but I use it when I'm like stressed out, and it's actually rosemary and tangerine, I believe. So you can maybe use that if you're suffering from stress. But definitely do some research. Yes. And I also feel like if you work with crystals, working around the sacral would be useful for you. The animal that came out for your group. Oh, and one more thing about the hemomorphite, the empathy. Again, that was the first message that I said for your group, was about boundaries between you and other people. So getting really clear on how you're feeling versus how somebody else is feeling, and not feeling responsible for the emotions of others might be really helpful. And doing work with the sacral, where you either maybe even look up like self-hypnosis related to the sacral, or affirmations for the sacral to balance, will be really helpful for this group. Just because the sacral is our like subconscious emotional center. So there's an ant on my book right now, which is very strange because I made my bed, so there shouldn't be ants. But there might be something around the ant as an added animal guide for you right now. So let's see. The animal that you got from this book, Animals Speak by Ted Andrews. This is a great book if you're interested in learning more about animal significance. The animal you got was the magpie, which is related to the crow. It's like a cousin of the crow. The magpie represents intelligence, resourcefulness, social groupings, and advancement of knowledge through fearlessness, even if you're unprepared. Which is interesting because fearlessness was something that came up twice, because the Scorpio energy was also talking about fearlessness, or kind of a morbid curiosity, and that really, I feel like, ties into the magpie. So this message was super synchronistic. It also said that magpies can induce an unusual initiation into spirit or occult knowledge, and I feel like this was what the lepidolite was talking about too, about remembering who we are and why we're here. Remember that? It also says to ask yourself, is your knowledge incomplete? Because the thing about the magpie that it was talking about is that magpies can almost like bypass knowing all the extra details and get to their result, which is a great skill of having a highly working intelligence, but it can also mean that you're cutting corners. So the book was saying, are you overlooking anything for a quick fix? And magpies are not easily controlled, so you can learn from this energy for yourself, since this animal spirit has come in for this reading. Don't allow the manipulations of others to affect you, and that's what I feel like a lot of you might be experiencing right now. And they're calling me to move into the energy work portion of this session, based on that little description. I'm going to use garnet with the lepidolite. And so group 2, I just want you to take a deep breath, hold it, and let it out. One more. Feel that belly fill up. Hold and release. Maybe take a moment to laugh too. That can be a really great way to release some energy. So I'm just going to bring this around intuitively. I'm going to kind of tap away some energy, lightly and gently removing any cords of energy from other people or outside influences. I'm also going to focus around the crown, releasing any generational beliefs or influences that don't serve your individual truth or highest good. Because the magpie was talking about social groupings, and the ant is so much about social groupings, and that showed up randomly for you. So definitely releasing any conditioning that forces you into a social pattern or conditions you into a generational stereotype or archetype that just doesn't suit you. Because I feel like a lot of you are on the cutting edge of whatever generation or group that you're in. You're always kind of like 1 or 2 steps ahead of the trends, is what I'm feeling. And let's see. Now I'm going to bring this amethyst in with the lepidolite to soothe your energy and also bring forth any memory that can serve you at this time. Around any like plant medicines that might help you in terms of like sourcing that aromatherapy. Aromatherapy doesn't even have to be just using essential oils or things like that. It can be from like burning herbs and plants. So be resourceful. Call on the magpie spirit to help you to see things that you normally might not have noticed or remembered are a resource for you. Because I feel like for a lot of you, using what you have will help to remove the stress. Because I feel like a lot of you don't want to have an extra step to be added into your day or another thing to focus on. Coming down around the root, pulling up the cosmic wisdom from the earth, helping to ground your knowledge into the earth plane. Sorry if you hear my stomach. Beautiful. And now using the lepidolite to flash through portals of cosmic knowledge. Yeah, I was just chanting the name of a Reiki symbol, drawing that through all of the chakra points to help balance. And I'm also specifically going to work with the nasal, because I'm just feeling such a pressure around this part of the face. So releasing any pressure, it might be really good for this group, along with your affirmations and aromatherapy. Aromatherapy can actually be used to open the nasal passageway. I believe it's like tea tree that would open, mint as well. Anything that's cooling be really useful. And for some of you, doing something around that would be like almost the other form of aromatherapy, doing like a steam if you do have a vaginal space. If you don't, that's okay. You can also steam your genitals regardless. As well as using certain lotions. I will recommend that Avalon Organics Spearmint one if you're interested in one that would be cooling and aromatherapy. Okay, so I'm going to warm up my hands really quick and just pat down your energy to almost like conserve it and bring your energy really tight into the aura so that you can become very aware of what you personally and intimately need right now. And also so that you can conserve your energy in order to express yourself more fully, more confidently, and with grace and compassion for others. So just patting that in. Beautiful. Let's get into your cards group 2. we're starting with the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle, and you have the card of change, card 12. It says, the frequency of change supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new. So regardless of what's going on, your body's wanting to communicate with you that there's a lot of change that's happening, and whether this is change that's happening within or change that's happening outside of you, your body is wanting your intimate understanding of itself. That Scorpio energy is really standing out to me because Scorpio is very much in touch with the self. They're very easily able to express or at least acknowledge the places where their energy is the strongest, because it's fixed water. It's about understanding our own flow and also learning from the ways that we stagnate. And so if you've been in a period of stagnation, your body may be craving change. And for some of you, this has to do with change around releasing old relationships, because the sacral is so emphasized in this, and there's even blue and orange really symbolically highlighted in this card. So maybe even doing some kind of ritual around releasing old relationships and the ways that your body's carrying that energy. This is the Avalon Oracle, and this is talking, it's the wisdom of the Avalon, sorry. This is talking about a message from the Fae related to your body, or the realm of the Fae, and that can be plants and animals and everything. And this is the deer, so another animal guide is coming through for you, group 2. The deer is also about empathy and kindness, and it's about being able to like this says, gentleness and diplomacy. So this is about relating to others. For some of you, you're going to have to be very clear about how you feel, but communicate it in a diplomatic way that honors both parties and isn't aggressive. So definitely taking a very gentle approach, because Scorpio is also ruled by Mars and Pluto, so sometimes it can be overzealous in its desire to protect itself. So just being mindful of that energy within yourself, group 2, and being able to again find balance between you and others. Okay, let's see what Lady Isis has to say to you, group 2. I'll show you the pictures on the cards while I read what's on the back. So you have the cards Stay True and Be in Your Power and Divine Destiny. So I feel like your body's wanting to tell you that it's preparing to be more authentic and to express its power more earnestly. And I feel like this might be a generational movement that's happening too. And that's why your guides are saying it's your divine destiny to kind of lead people towards this energy. So I'm going to start with Divine Destiny, which is right here. And it says, the divine warrior is within you, helping you to continue with a worthy path even during times of difficulty. When faced with a challenge, a true warrior will summon more of him or her or themselves to the cause. It might be by bringing more wisdom, focus, or intelligence, or surrendering into the divine. The warrior within has great inner resourcefulness and determination. That reminds me so much of the Magpie guide that you had too, about intelligence, resourcefulness, and being able to either provide a quick fix or acknowledge where a quick fix might be cutting corners too much. Stay true and in your power is this card. Whoa, I just caught a fly in my hand and then released it. That was weird. So, stay true and be in your power. You are a sovereign divine being with spiritual authority and freedom within. You do not need permission from anyone to be who you are and live your life as you choose. This is your divine birthright. Guard it as the precious treasure that it is, and remember that you are a divine being, free to be you. I kind of want to see... Yeah, there's a symbol of the hawk, so Horus might be a really interesting deity for you to look into at this time, because that's all about personal power and the right to be. And I feel like this is the biggest change that your body's wanting to show you and to move you through. especially around embracing your sensuality. So for some of you, this might be even like a coming out process if you resonate with that term. I know that's not a super popular term in the queer community anymore, but I know that it is a common and universal experience for a reason. So there might be some kind of change around how you're presenting yourself or allowing others to perceive you as well. So it's important for you to be kind and gentle with your body as it goes through this process of bringing forth its true self, especially if you were like pushed down, or I feel like it's a very common experience in this I'm filming this in 2024, but in this modern era, to be somewhat ashamed or guilted about who you really are or expressing your full self. And so I feel like that's kind of the message about where your path is unfolding at the moment, especially with the deer here. It's about embracing who you are. And also standing up for, was it your group that I was saying justice? Maybe not. But I am feeling like this energy of justice and doing what's right, even if it has to be delivered, it's like a harsh message delivered in a kind of sweet way. And that's using that intelligence like the magpie is talking about. So finally, your last message, you have a shamanic message here. From the Shaman's Oracle, and this is the Hunter of Strength and the Hunter of Mysteries. So again, you had this warrior energy in your message from Isis about staying true to your power and your destiny. And the hunter is one who seeks. The hunter is crafty and also knows when to act, depending on how they're hunting. And with the Hunter of Strength and the Hunter of Mysteries, I feel like you don't need to have everything figured out right now or how you're going to do it. That's what the Hunter of Mysteries is saying. And the Hunter of Strength is saying to build that strength from within and to hold that strength in the way that you carry yourself and the routines that you develop right now. So the magpie and the ant spirit, we're talking about having the right community. So it might be that you don't have to do everything yourself, and that having the right people around you to support what you intend is going to be the most essential for this group right now. Being able to have the right resources around you and not viewing people as resources necessarily, but seeing that the right people around you are the right resources sometimes, if that makes sense. Like they have the right energy that can supply what a common or shared goal can be. And hunters rarely go out on their own. It depends on the type of hunting, but usually hunting can happen like kind of in a group or with the effort of multiple. So definitely allowing for these mysteries to unfold, because I feel like some of these mysteries are mysteries that the human collective is actively struggling with and seeking out these solutions to. So that is all I'm getting for you, Group 2. Thank you so very much for your commitment and dedication to your spiritual path at this time. Thank you for sitting through this reading if you made it to this point. Thank you to your guides for being so present and supportive and clear in the messages that they brought through me today. Thank you to my guides for bringing in this connection that we shared today and facilitating that. I want to send you so much love and so much gratitude. If you are interested in a personal reading, that information is in the description below at my website. If you click on the link there, it should take you where you need to go. Otherwise, I will see you in another video, my friend. Thank you so much. Bye. Greetings, Group 3. If you selected this third group, or this green banded onyx, this is your reading as to what your body is trying to communicate with you and what it needs. So, Group 3, I feel like your energy is really regulated. It's a really positive and uplifting feeling to be in your energy. I feel like a lot of you have, I'm hearing like focus and determination, and I think that that's actually, yes, that's what the meaning of the green onyx is all about. Focus, concentrated, meaningful actions. Because I took notes for each of the groups from these books that I have here as well. So we'll get into that, but definitely there's some kind of willpower that's being emphasized. For me, whenever I use the green banded onyx, because of its yellow, green, and sometimes red, brown coloring, I feel like it really connects the heart to the physical lived experience and how we're expressing that from like the solar plexus, that personal willpower center. So yeah, definitely, if you don't already, maybe consider working with green banded onyx or just onyx in general. Yeah, and onyx is also about asking ourselves what the meaning is and how to create meaning. So for a lot of you, I feel like that's kind of the question at the forefront of your experience right now is, what does this mean? How can I create meaning? I started with doing some bibliomancy in this book, The Medical Astrology for Health Practitioners by Judith Hill. And when I flipped to the page in this book, I got to the page on Aries. So you may be an Aries or have Aries in a prominent or relevant position in your astrological chart. Even if you don't have any planets placed in Aries, look on the part of the wheel where Aries is ruling a house. So it said, the first thing that I was drawn to though on the page was saying that Aries is prone to dehydration. So for a lot of you, I feel like it's really important for you to hydrate yourselves right now. Eat foods that have high water content in them, or just be drinking a lot of water, or supplementing, supplementing with some electrolytes. A way that I like to do this personally is by drinking coconut water or mixing coconut water into smoothies or fruit juices if I'm not feeling like drinking the coconut water by itself that day. Because coconut water has a very great natural source of electrolytes and different minerals. So do your own research, of course, as to what will benefit you personally, but I feel like for a lot of you, hydration is a really big and important thing for your body right now. Another part was the kidneys are emphasized. Because the kidneys are actually ruled by Libra, which is the opposite sign to Aries, it was talking about how the kidneys might need, again, they deal with processing our liquids and our hydration, so I just feel like that's really important to you. And something about the adrenal system. It said the Aries is drawn to being pushed, so excess, stimulants, heat, spice, sun, and it relaxes with cool. So it might be important for you at this time to either get yourself into this energy of Aries and to be working out more, to be eating spicy foods, to be sunbathing, for some of you. And for others of you, if you feel like you're already in this energy and you're almost burning out, it's really important for you to relax with cooling things like watermelon and cucumbers keep really being brought to my attention because they're hydrating foods and they're also cooling. And also I feel like for this group you may be experiencing some type of hormone imbalance. Again, I'm not a medical professional, so this is not medical advice. This is more of what I was picking up on intuitively or psychically. But it also mentioned marshmallow might be a really, and I'm talking about the plant marshmallow. It actually grows really abundantly where I live. But you can do some research on how to use it because it also works really well with your lymph system. But using marshmallow can really help balance your hormones. And I'm talking about like marshmallow leaf, marshmallow flower. It also said that Aries is, being a fire sign, it works with light. And so using green and blue color therapy could be useful for you. And either that would be sitting under a green or blue light, or wearing the color green or blue, or gazing into it. Minimize drinking alcohol and engaging in things that heighten your energy at this time, unless you are part of the group that feels like you need that Aries energy, that active energy. or you need to hone in on that to kind of manage and control it. But it says that this kind of energy can be tied to ADHD, headaches, seizures, or accidents. So definitely learn how to kind of manage and maintain this high vitality energy. And that's why I'm saying that drinking alcohol can kind of exacerbate or almost drain this energy at this time, especially if we're working with the kidneys. You don't want to be excessively processing something that's dehydrating this area. So if you are resonating with the thing about alcohol, if you've been drinking a lot, it might be time to take a little break, just to help restore your body's vitality. So it also says, just highlighting vitality and need to move. So if you've been really dormant or docile, it's time for you to begin to move your body and just to get your blood flowing and pumping, even just once a day. And you can manage this in different ways. Of course, this is not an ableist perspective. There are many different ways that you can get yourself moving in the ways that are right for you. So, I also got a crystal. Even though, yes, you chose the green banded onyx, I also wanted to get a secondary crystal. And the crystal that I opened to was Heliodor. And I want to show you what it looks like because it's kind of an uncommon crystal. So right here, that yellow, again working with solar energy, so definitely sunbathe. Regardless of how you're feeling right now, you can even mix something cooling, like making a smoothie and then going outside and sunbathing while you drink the smoothie, something like that. But yeah, it says for Heliodor, the universe is an expansive place. I keep my mind open to receive all. But I also wrote some notes here about it. It says limiting oneself, fear of change, clinging to security, don't dim your light due to societal constructs. So people that I've known that have a lot of Aries energy in their chart in a prominent position, they often do feel like they have to integrate themselves into society or have some kind of ego-based image of themselves that sometimes doesn't always live up to like the highest potential of what their spiritual needs might be. And sometimes the ego can be very limiting for this Aries type energy. So it's saying don't limit your potential or what you believe is possible for yourself right now, especially if you're somebody who's been setting goals, trying to go out there and make changes. So that's actually leading me into your energy work. I know I have another note here, but I kind of want to get into that before I read. So I'm gonna channel in with this rose quartz and this garnet some active energy, some inspiration, and I'm gonna tap this. I know it's kind of loud. Tap this around the solar plexus and just imagine these like shock waves kind of coming out slowly from this area, radiating love, security, abundance, personal willpower, strength, endurance, focus, determination, perseverance, gentleness, okay, and I'm being called to come a little closer and break up any limiting beliefs in the crown or the third eye, especially the third eye, because I'm feeling like a pressure at the third eye. So just releasing. And I want you to follow along with me if you can, doing some progressive muscle tension and relaxing. So going from your toes all the way up into your calves, begin to flex and tense the muscles, and I'll do it with you. tensing and flexing your thighs, moving up as you flex and tense any like muscles inside and up through the torso. Flex and tense up into the chest and the arms and the hands, the neck, the shoulders, and release it all, release it all. Now we're going to do the opposite, and we're going to start up here, flex and tense all up in the face, the neck, the shoulders, the arms, the hands, the chest, the torso, the thighs, down into the calves and the feet, and relax. So we just moved our energy up and back down, and by using heat or muscles, they build heat, you actually just released a lot of energy by focusing your intention on different places in the body. I'm going to take the green banded onyx and I'm going to draw some Reiki symbols into your third eye, because I'm feeling like that's a chakra that might need a lot of support right now, becoming more aware of the body. I'm going to energize the root as well with another Reiki symbol. Okay. Down into the root to energize and also allow for any emotional processing around actions, helping those desires or the reasons and the meanings for the actions to become more integrated into the subconscious and to become kind of automatic, understanding what the meaning is so that we're not getting stuck or trapped or slowed down by the mental processes. Okay, and I'm going to do one final little swoosh. I'm imagining like rain coming through your aura, or like a mist, to kind of come in and cool off. It's almost going to act like when you work out in like the morning time, if you go for like a morning run, you don't get as overheated or you don't feel like you're exerting yourself as much because the environment is constantly counteracting or balancing what you're doing internally. So just bringing in just kind of like a cool mist, draping it around, especially down the back in the subconscious field. I was feeling like a lot of heavy energy was built up along the back of the body, so that mist is coming through to just cleanse and clear. And I'm going to swirl this mist around you so that it's moving and it doesn't stagnate, because I feel like your energy needs to be moving. And in my mind's eye I was seeing butterflies, so I don't know if that's a guide for you, but it might be something that you can meditate on, that energy. Okay, so moving forward, the last kind of message I got from the books was the bison or the buffalo, from this book Animals Speak by Ted Andrews. And the bison or the buffalo is, bison is actually what it's categorized if you live in the Americas, but if you're looking more to as a guide from Africa, that's going to be the buffalo, Africa or Asia. Anyway, it says right action and right prayer. And it brought up the story of the buffalo woman from the Lakota, and this is the white buffalo woman. So basically she teaches the tribe how to understand the interconnected meanings of the universe through the peace pipe, but she also teaches them how to connect with taking the right actions on the earth to manifest what they need spiritually and energetically. And I feel like this is really tied into your onyx message and Heliodor and everything. It says right action and the right path should be easy once you're aligned. This is not about effort and forcing, as the Aries energy can sometimes make us want to do, but this is about using Aries energy to its fullest extent, using our vital life force energy to actually work with us and for us, making the right decision or making a choice to make an investment energetically should still leave room for you to have ease and to be able to relax into this pathway rather than trying to force. And a metaphor that this book was talking about is if we force things and we get there too early, we may be ahead of the seasons or the rhythms of the environment. And so it can mean that, like, yes, we were successful, but we didn't align with what's going on around us. And I feel like that's a big, strong message from the Bison Spirit for you, Group 3. And finally, the Bison Spirit also emphasizes gratitude. Being grateful for what we already have will allow for us to be able to actually manage anything new coming in. So let's get into your cards. We're going to start with the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle. And the card that you got was number 10, Authority. And it says the frequency of authority reminds us that true authority is powerful, directed, and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. This is giving me chills because this is so much the Bison Spirit. The Bison Spirit talks about being able to be receptive to the spirit realms, to have a great knowledge and awareness, but not to get ungrounded from that knowledge and awareness. And I feel like for a lot of you, you're maybe being called into finding that balance in your life between action and being passive. And so this is saying that you have the power to take authority in your life, and that's what your body wants you to know right now. Let's see a little message from the Fae realm, from the Wisdom of the Avalon Oracle. This is the card of truth, and this is a sacred journey marker. So again, authority paired with truth is saying that, I'm thinking of a Martin Luther King quote where he says something like, love without justice is like sad and anemic, and he says something about like true power essentially too. I might have that quoted in the description for you, Group 3. But he says basically like we need to have a balance of power and compassion and justice and love and all these different things, without letting one usurp the other. And I feel like your truth is what's going to give you power at this time, Group 3. This is really important for you to embrace what your authentic perspective is. What do you know that maybe other people don't agree with, but it's really important for you to assert this perspective because not everybody's going to be the same, and it's really important for you to speak up for yourself, to find that authority within so that you can direct. You can use your power, and you can also be able to be loving and hold space for others to respond and to share wisdom with you as well as you sharing your wisdom too with them. I hope that makes sense. So the Fae are saying like find as many opportunities as you can to express your truth. Let's get the message from Lady Isis, and it says, Serpent of Fire, do not assess your current ability based on past standards as they no longer apply to you. You are stronger and more powerful now than you have been before. You need to learn afresh what you are capable of, and Isis helps you now. So, a lot of you are going through this transition where you are learning your power and how to use it. And I was just drawing the Serpent of Fire Reiki symbol for you to press into your aura because I feel like that's an important symbol for you at this time. This is about potentially a Kundalini rising for some of you if you resonate with that and work with that energy. But in general, this is about you knowing that you're stepping more into your own personal power and how you can use that to shed light on things that maybe you weren't focusing on before, whether in your personal life or calling that attention to others out in the social world. Finally, we're going to get a shamanic message for you from the Shaman's Oracle. And this is Shaman of Courage. So you're being called to transmute any pain, fear, anything related to being the antithesis of the courage. And that's the kind of paradox of the shaman energy, is that you are able to touch both the dark and the light. So this is talking about once you get in touch with the thing that is the ailment or the disease, you're actually able to then become its counterpart or its opposite, and embrace the remedy. And so for a lot of you, because you may have been feeling small or been for some of you, I feel like it's more just like giving into temptations or other people's, like, I want to call it like miracle cures or something like that, like a set of beliefs or structures or routines or roles that other people have maybe wanted to place you in. The shaman of courage is asking you to break out of those comfortable or safe or secure things. And wasn't your Heliodor talking about that? Yeah, clinging to security. So this is saying that courage is going to help you to break out of those things that seem secure when they really aren't. They're not secure for your spirit or your soul or your truth. Again, with this truth card. That is all I am seeing for you, group 3. I want to thank you so much for being here, for committing to yourself on your spiritual journey. I want to thank your guides for being here to facilitate this, my guides and every other force in the universe for coming together and supporting this healing message and this energy work today. If you are interested in a personal reading or you want to know more about my ethics, my policies, and my practices, that will be at my website that is linked down below. Otherwise, I will see you in another video, my friend. Take care. Readings group 4, if you selected this last group or this red tiger's eye, this is your reading on what your body is trying to communicate to you at this time. So, group 4, you have some heavy energy. That's okay. But I just remembered when I was writing the notes for your group, I was like, whoa. We're kind of ending on a little bit of heavy stuff, but hopefully the energy work we do in this will actually help you to face anything that's going on. So the red tiger's eye here is for improved motivation and metabolism. It counteracts anemia, and it encourages self-discipline, creativity, and excitement. So this crystal, I kind of want to get it to flash for you a little bit, is a derivative of tiger's eye, which is also about protection and wealth. So I don't know if some of you have been feeling that kind of energy of like lethargy, a slowed metabolism, like kind of the word that's coming to my mind is like this, one of the 7 deadly sins of like sloth. Just not feeling like it's almost like paired with like a depressive energy, where it's not really like your fault as in you're committing a sin. I don't really like fully the concept of the 7 deadly sins, but in some ways we need to be accountable for how we contribute to these patterns and paradigms that we live through. But there is something about just being unmotivated to take the actions that would be right, the actions that would bring more luxury or more, yeah, I guess they want me to say luxury over wealth, because it's like being able to rest and relax into your energy, being able to feel secure in your body as well. Let's get into where it potentially manifests physically, and I feel like for a lot of you, you have various health things that are already going on that you're already aware of, and so the thing that I did when I was doing the bibliomancy in this book, the medical astrology book, it came to a point that was very, how shall we say, like not physical. It was talking about the South Node in astrology. And the South Node, it said, produces psychosomatic symptoms. It also said look to the South Node for weakness or point of need, past life or PTSD, trauma, evil eye, or genetic inheritance. So basically, some of you may have some kind of genetic malfunction that's happening. or something that's inherited, as well as I'm feeling like some of you feel like there are certain symptoms that are going on in your body that are definitely coming from an emotional state. So take it how it resonates, please, of course. And also, it may be that it's an energetic imbalance that comes from past lives, so that can be considered as well. The south node is the south node of the moon, so it's referring to those lunar nodes. And this talks about kind of the balance of the collective emotional states. So if you want to know more about the nodes, I would look into the eclipses or where recent eclipses may have happened for you at this time of you finding this video, because the nodes, they reference where these anchor points are for the lunar tides in a way. And so, for example, when I'm filming this, the lunar nodes are in, the south node is in Libra and the north node is in Aries, I believe, right now. And so we've been having eclipses in Libra and Aries because that's where the nodes are. So these are these like kind of tension points where things are being redirected, shifted, turned around. They're almost like gravitational points is kind of how I see them. And so, yeah, as well, the south and north node are positioned in different places, like opposing places in your birth chart, and they represent the north node is the kind of trajectory of where your life is supposed to go, or where you're supposed to fulfill your greatest potential in this lifetime. And the south node is any baggage, in my opinion, any baggage that's being brought forward from past lives or an ancestral influence, and it can represent maybe where we fall back on or we find comfort. So it also said that you can treat south node related illnesses or injuries with flower essences, homeopathy, and music tones. So more of those passive treatments, or addressing things in a more subtle and subconscious way, because the south node can represent the subconscious, whereas the north node can represent the conscious. Definitely look to where this is in your chart personally, because that's going to give you a deeper indication as to where in the body this could be manifesting. In the book, they use the example of Cancer. So if the south node is in Cancer, it could mean that there are weaknesses in the chest, in the arms, and like the breast area as well. So it's important to, or even emotional imbalances, because Cancer rules the emotional or subconscious realm. So I feel like for a lot of you, this is also talking about preventative care too, being aware that certain areas of your body may be more receptive to the thoughts you're thinking and the programs that you have going on in your subconscious mind. So yeah. And it also did say that try not to use self-hypnosis type things for this group, because hypnosis or it can be too suggestible for this type of influence. So there's something going on within the body that I feel like is from a point of suggestion, or again, using that word psychosomatic, which just means from the psyche to the somatic, the body. I think I need some more information before I do energy work for your group. So I'm gonna go into the crystal that was channeled from the crystal book. I know I have a crystal here for you, but I also wanted to bring in another one. And the one that you have was the chlorite quartz. It's a form of clear quartz. If you've never heard of it, I had never heard of it. But it's for compassion and support, and it's about not spreading trauma around. Okay, so again, I feel like this really relates to the south node. This can be inheritance and trauma and PTSD, etc. So for some of you, this is very much about PTSD, or complex PTSD, if you resonate with that more, which is, if you've never heard of complex PTSD, this comes from continued minor traumatic events that are built up over time. So this can be like more like emotional abuse or psychological abuse. Impatience is also connected to this, and I believe that this piece of quartz that I have is a type of chlorite quartz, if you want to see it, and I'm going to use this in your energy work. This is for finding a fresh perspective in order to be more compassionate and open the heart space. So I'm actually feeling like I'm ready to start your energy work. So I'm going to give you some time to begin breathing down into the heart space specifically. So take a deep breath and feel the heart chakra open. Feel this energy of expansiveness, of love, and of especially self-acceptance and self-awareness. So I'm charging my hands and I'm going to place them onto the heart and create a circuit where energy, Reiki energy, healing energy goes into the heart space, a beautiful green light. I'm going to call on Archangel Raphael to use the emerald ray through my right hand, and I'm going to call on him to help me to transmute through the left hand to pull out any energies related to hardening or defensiveness that may hinder you from your natural ability to feel compassion for yourself and others, and also to empathize with the world around you. I'm also going to call upon Archangel Raphael to help to transmute any energy related to carrying traumatic circumstances in the heart space, just releasing any pain that's carried here, soothing the energies that have been feeling that hardening energy, that need to withdraw or close down or not express the love, and just softening. And if you have been experiencing kind of an overactive heart, bringing in an energy of soothing to not overcompensate or not overextend based on being kind of like hyperstimulated from what can happen to the heart space there. I'm gonna bring in the chlorite quartz, and I'm gonna draw in the Hanshaza Shonen Reiki symbol through all of your chakras. This is allowing for this to permeate through time and space to activate the initiation of soul retrieval into the heart space, and to also balance any emotional responses that are pulling you away from your authentic and unconditionally loving self. Beautiful. And I'm just balancing these energy centers, and I'm creating a nice little quartz bubble around you so that rainbow energy and the frequency of all different colors can be activated in your energy field, and that your energy field can be heightened in its energetic frequency. Because I was feeling almost like a tiredness from your group, just feeling like your energy has been extended into dealing with these traumatic responses, rather than, it's like going from survival to thrival is kind of what your guides are saying. They're being cheeky about it, but I'm also wanting to work with the subconscious energy of the heart, just drawing in the Daikomyo Reiki Master symbol to work with that subconscious energy in a masterful way. I personally call this my universe quartz because I found this quartz found me. So just bringing in the loving intelligence of the universe, knowing that at this time you don't really need to do much to control your healing process. All you need to do is receive and be open to it. I'm also going to bring through the red tiger's eye with some Kambaba jasper, and I'm going to just swirl these around the root, allowing for beautiful primordial energy to come up through the chakra system from the base or root chakra. My cat's here to join. She wants to help with your healing, with your soothing. I'm sorry if she knocked the camera. Come here. She's using her voice to help and to say everything's gonna be okay. I know how to interpret her messages. So as I do this, just breathe from your root Imagine your breath extending down into the root. And on the out breath, just releasing any of that old stagnant energy. Beautiful, group 4. I want to continue your message. Sorry, my cat's charging the little thing. My notes. And I want to give you your animal guide. So the animal guide that came through for you from this book, Animals Speak by Ted Andrews, is the armadillo. And it's actually interesting because I opened to the antelope first, and I want to mention it just in case you have a personal connection to the antelope. That can be about being on your guard, and also sometimes not wanting to give up our traumatic responses. But it's also about trusting in the knowledge of a group or a tribe, so that might be a separate message for some of you. On the other hand, the armadillo has a bit of a different message because it's more of a solitary creature, so it depends on what you're going to resonate with. But the armadillo, the notes I took say, get through the surface to find what's underneath. And it's also about protection, empathy, barriers and boundaries, past life, and in particular, sorry about the background noise, in particular a past life connection to knights and the Aztecs. So if you feel any kind of connection to that, it might be important for you to look into those energies, because both of them had very particular codes of honor around being a warrior and how to protect and provide for the community. My cat rarely ever comes in for these things, so it's a rare treat that she gets to be in here for your energy session. But let's see. So definitely it's important for you to protect your energy and also be aware of how you share your vulnerable energy with others and how they can potentially use that for or against you. Not saying that people usually do that, and I don't want you to lack your trust for people, but I feel like it's really important for you, the armadillo spirits coming through, to say that they have that soft underbelly, and if they sleep like sunbathing, it said, with the sun or with their belly exposed to the sun, sometimes it can leave them vulnerable to predators. And so it's important that right now, because you're in this energy of having to find your boundaries and be in this protected space, because I feel like you have a lot of wisdom, it's really essential for you to recognize where and when you should be sharing certain information and energy about yourself, and who you give your empathy to, because I feel like for some of you, you were overextending your empathy in earlier parts of life, and that may be where the trauma comes in, is that the empathy, there was no boundaries, and so it's important for you to be building up proper boundaries right now. Group 4. It also says, I think it's important that the past life connection came through, especially with the South Node being connected to past lives, in my personal opinion. So doing some type of past life regression or past life therapy with a trusted professional would be really beneficial for you at this time. Also, working with animals is really important for you too, since my cat's here and she's purring on me. It also says to defend yourself without harming another. So being able to put up a defense without feeling like you have to retaliate if maybe your trauma response is to fight with that warrior energy coming through. It also says to manage your stressors. And unless you do manage your stress, there will be delay in the progress that you want to make in your healing journey. Because if an armadillo who's pregnant is stressed out, it can delay the birth up to 2 years. So there's this energy of not wanting to delay based on the stress that you're taking on. You have an incredible empathic sensitivity, and it's important for you to learn how to manage the emotions that come with that sensitivity. That's what the armadillo spirit is all about. So let's get into your cards. You have 2 cards from the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle, and these are magic 31 and integration 30, which is interesting because I've had this deck for a really long time, so the fact that they are right next to each other, kind of progressive energies, I really should be holding them like this. 30, 31. It's really important for you to recognize that with that number 3, aligning the mind, body, and spirit is going to help for certain energies to be catalyzed in your life, because also 3 can be like delta, catalyzing a process. So let's see what integration says. It says the frequency of integration supports our embrace of every aspect of ourselves, allowing what we perceive as positive and what we perceive as negative to harmonize in a balanced symphony of life. In terms of my own healing journey with trauma, the most important part of overcoming the grip that trauma can place on us and counteracting the negative responses we may like encode into our behavior from traumatic experience is going to be by integrating our understanding of what happened and accepting that it happened in the first place and that we couldn't have changed anything, and it's important to learn the lesson. So that's why this card is saying embrace of every aspect of ourselves, allowing what we perceive as positive, what we perceive as negative to harmonize in a balanced symphony of life. So recognizing that just because something bad has happened to us does not mean that our life is cursed, does not mean that we are bad people. It means that we have to learn and grow from these experiences, and how we respond or integrate allows us to derive power and understanding from these experiences. Paired with magic, I feel like this is saying that this is going to create somewhat of a miraculous chain of events from being able to integrate and then embrace that magic or the unexplained is very much a part of our reality. It says the frequency of magic supports our intrinsic ability to grow and expand beyond this moment, to move toward possibilities and expressions that are as grand and profound as we can imagine. All that is required is our belief in their manifestation. So, I feel like it's really important for this group to work on your belief that this present moment and what you're experiencing right now, as painful as it may be, or as confusing as it may become, is releasing a very potent and unexplained magic. I'm almost seeing like a mushroom that's releasing spores. So there's something about like the unseen realms and things that are imperceivable, and that's actually taking us into these secondary cards. And my cat usually does not come over and like lay on everything the way that she's doing, but she is like laying on the crystals that I've used for you, laying on your cards, laying on your notes, like everything. So definitely using animals, like I had her registered as an emotional support animal while I was in school, so maybe something like that for you, like actually consciously working with your relationship with an animal in terms of emotional support and managing stress. So the other where I was moving with this unseen realms thing was I pulled these cards from the Wisdom of the Avalon Oracle to be messages from the Fae about what your body needs from you. And this is saying risk. So I feel like this is a sacred journey marker. So this is talking about no matter what you perceive as a risk in your future, or maybe taking a risk, it's important to assess whether this is going to work with your emotional state and also the way that you feel your body needs. So I feel like for some of you, there's like a couple messages coming through since there is a group here, but I'm feeling like for some of you this is talking about like a medical procedure you might need, or like a screening of some kind that might assess your risk for a certain like maybe genetic disorder or dysfunction. I don't always like using these words because it kind of implies incorrectness, or you know what I mean, like a deficiency, but at the same time it's also important to acknowledge that these things do exist and they're not always negative. But yeah, finding acceptance of a risk of something. So maybe for some of you this is talking about the risks that might be involved if you were to continue forward without integrating this acknowledgement of your trauma or how it's affecting you. So there's a couple different ways to interpret this, but I do feel like the Fae are saying too, do some research on how you can use plant medicine to negate certain risks that you're taking or that you have taken in the past. So for some of you, this trauma is related to risky behavior or risk-taking behavior. And so it's important to maybe heal yourself through plant or animal medicine. Okay, let's get your message from Lady Isis. It's very interesting. When I was shuffling with the Isis Oracle, I never get tons and tons of cards coming out of that deck, but you had consistently 4, 5, 6 cards come out at a time, and I kept putting them back like, no, that's too many. But it kept happening. So I took the final grouping of 4. So this is going to be a bit of reading. I might not interpret it as much because I think it's going to be kind of literal. But yeah, I wanted to give you a heads up. I'm about to be reading quite a bit for you. So this card here is the Mother of Life. It said, when life seems dry, depleted, filled with repetitive tasks, or is simply stagnant and stifled, Isis, the Mother of Life, holds the ability to revive even the most numb, resistant, and difficult circumstances in your life. She calls to you now, seeking to bestow gifts of life upon you. Be bold and brave. Open your arms and receive. Open your heart. Queen of Heaven, right here. The Queen of Heaven, the Divine Empress of the Skies, acknowledges your feminine authority now, as a man or a woman, or other. You have a life path, of spiritual leadership, bringing qualities of mercy, compassion, and wisdom into the world. So I feel like it's really important for you to lean on these qualities of yourself and to recognize that you have the authority to be receptive at this time, receptive of yourself, and also receptive of the ways that I feel like your spirit guides are trying to bring healing into your life, because I feel like you have a lot of support from the unseen, and that wasn't really a message I got in the other groups. So I feel like you are receiving like spiritual healings from angels, from ascended masters, from the guides you work with, and calling on them intentionally is going to be really, really helpful at this time. I'm going to grab the card that my cat just knocked out of my hand. So these 2 cards I felt like were connected, as were the other 2. So I'm going to read them. The Lunar Queen. This is the one that she dropped. There is a deep feminine wisdom that recognizes the importance of cycles of rest and replenishment as essential to balance our actions of power and demonstration. You are asked to allow this replenishment for yourself now, trusting that you are in a cycle of creation that is about to shift into a new phase. Release and enjoy the process without having to control or force it. Again, you're receiving healing. And that's the integration and the magic too. These are very somewhat passive forces. Okay, finally, magic and ritual. Effect in the external world can be created through inner practice. Heart-centered ritual can support your inner path in the physical world. This risk card is all about the path too. You are encouraged to enhance your power with regular practice as you grow in grace, love, ability, and wisdom, applying your inner beauty to transform your outer world. So focus on the internal world and how your beauty comes from within and how that power comes from within right now. It's okay if you don't have a lot of things to show for your healing journey at the moment. It's really important for your body to be rested and replenished. I definitely think that that's why the that Lunar Queen came through too. Maybe even working with the moon or the ocean to cleanse and purify your energy of any past residues from trauma or experiences of pain and grief, because the heart can also hold a lot of grief, and I feel like your heart was really the main chakra point that I had to focus on in your energy work. Finally, I'm going to give you a shamanic message from the Shaman's Oracle. This says, Hunter of Honor and Dancer of Frustration. So the dancers are all about our movement and the way that we use our physical bodies to create reactions or responses in the physical world, or to move and channel energy. So use your frustration if you feel like you've been stagnating, because frustration, I feel like, always comes from like that energy of like blockage. Use your physical body to move and release any frustration or any anger that you're feeling pent up from maybe injustices that you've experienced related to those traumas, or emotions that you need to express physically without words. The other one here, Hunter of Honor, is talking about seeking out places, spaces, and people that honor you and your body's needs for recovery, rest, and magic. Your guides are saying that it's really important for you to be in spaces of either spiritual healing or spaces of non-judgment, where you can feel like your opinions and your experiences are being honored. And Hunter is reminding us of the need to seek out that support. And I feel like for some of you, this is going to be support groups or even like group therapy type environments. So that is all I am receiving for you, group 4. Thank you so very much for being here, for being present in your own spiritual journey and being here with me at this time. I want to thank your guides, my guides, and every other force in the universe that brought us together for this reading and this energy healing today. If you're interested in a personal reading, my information is below. My website also has any other information about my art or my policies and ethics if you are interested. Thank you so much for making it to this point in the reading, and I will see you in another video, my friend. Take care.